Hey everybody, Charlie Chedester at Midwest Family Lending. It's good to be back. We're going to study learning to invest, but not the kind of investment that most people look at when you put money into a stock or mutual fund and it makes you money long term. We're going to talk about investing in your future. We've talked a lot about good grades, learning to earn, learning to live within your means, but we need to know what your means are. How are you living? How are you working? What are you doing? Where are you doing it? The student loan process is something that overwhelms everybody, but when you look at a long-term investment, that's exactly what student loans can be. So when you have an overwhelming piece, just like when we talked with SMART goals, we want to break down this process so you can know who, what, when, why, where, how on student loans. And that's not overwhelming. It's just a step-by-step process that you can negotiate what you want, get where you need to be, and understand you made a good decision. So let's look at a couple of extremes. Let's go with a no-brainer in the awesome column, which is you get out of school, so a 4-year degree with $20,000 in debt. And you get a $50,000 per year job. Absolutely spectacular. You did a heck of a job. You got a nice income, very manageable debt, and you just took the process and used it like it was supposed to be. Let's go to the exact opposite extreme, and you have $20,000 in student loan debt, but you never graduated. You dropped out your sophomore year. All right, well, that really stinks because the student loan debt's never going to go away. It sticks with you forever until it's paid off. And you don't have the earning potential increase because you didn't graduate. So you have no benefit and you still have the debt. Not a good decision. And it's going to follow you a long time. So we look at those two extremes and we try to figure out what's in the middle. Well, that's what we're going to go through today, is how can we get step by step to understand, most of us that are in the middle, what do we do to make this an intelligible process that isn't so confusing and frustrating. So step one, what do you like to do? Because you're going to need to pick a major. And you may not know exactly what that is, but you can get a general idea. Because the major you pick, whether you change before you get to school or change it your freshman, sophomore year, that's going to dictate what schools you want to go to. So the first step we need to consider is just what you like, what you want to do. Pick the major or pick a couple majors that you want to consider. That'll lead you into step two. Where do you want to go to school? You've got in-state schools, you've got out-of-state schools, you've got private and public. All those schools are going to have different details. So where do you want to go and what do you want to study? There's your first two big steps. Now, narrow those down as much as you can, but you can always edit your list. The third step, we need to take and make sure we know how much each of these schools are going to cost. In-state and out-of-state, public and private, they're all going to have different costs associated with those. So you need to add up tuition, room, board, and any other costs you can come up with that is going to affect you while you're there. That way you know I need X number of dollars per year and we can do a budget just like you do a budget to live on. So we had the first three steps down. Now we need to know, all right, well, what am I going to do to try and figure out where my money is coming from? And there's a lot of great resources out there. So I don't want to take and try and recreate the wheel and have all these things done on our own. We've put a lot of links on the website. And so as you go through this page, which if you don't have one in class, the link is on the web page. You can view it, print it, download it, whatever you want to do. You're going to have a lot of resources for what schools cost what, and be able to look at a lot of different step-by-step tutorials at a couple different websites. So do visit admmoneysmart.com, and it's got all this information there ready for you to use. So when you break down the different schools that you want to attend, what costs they have, we want to look at your different areas of your financial aid package. And those areas are going to be scholarships, grants, cash, and loans. So the first two we want to do is your free money. I don't know about you, but I do things as free as possible whenever I can. So grants and scholarships, what's available? Well, there's three places you need to look. You're going to be looking locally. So again, look in your local community, see what groups have things available, see what your high school has available for grants and scholarships. From there, you're going to go on to what's available in the state of Iowa. Iowa residents are eligible for certain grants and scholarships. You can apply for them and see what you can get. Again, there's links on the website for those. You're also going to look and take that next step for cash and gifts. Maybe you've been saving. There's a 529 plan, grandma and grandpa, mom and dad. But those are all going to be grants and scholarships, free money, cash and gifts, and money that have been set aside or planned for by friends, family, and yourself. Those are going to be your first three buckets you analyze. And those are typically a little bit on the easier side, in my opinion, because you have definite resources, get those applications, know where it's at. The more complex it gets people a little confused and a little antsy is the student loans. The nice part about the student loans, and that's going to be your next piece when we go to step 5 and say, How much am I going to have to finance? And this is where people mostly get stuck. And it's not a big deal. You need to fill out your FAFSA. You need to follow the dates that are in accordance with your school years and your applications. So, look up the FAFSA, get it in and get it done on a timely schedule, but that's going to help you determine with your counselor, your financial aid officer, at the institution of choice, what are you eligible for? There's different types of loans. We're not going to go into all those, but you want to try and review the loans with the best terms first. There are different types with different terms for rates, and subsidized versus unsubsidized. There's lots of keys. You'll find that out when you see what you're eligible for. So as you review those, you want to make sure you know what the costs are, where's your free money, where's your money you've saved in cash or gifts, and then how much you have to finance. What I want you to really focus on is, here's how much this finance cost me. If you choose a major that has whatever career opportunities within that major, are those careers going to pay you enough to pay for the student loans? We want to make sure that you don't have too much debt and not enough income, and that they match up. So there's a lot of pieces you can take and search through. Again, there's some links on there that'll tell you, you like math? Here's some different areas you can look at. Here's how much those areas are going to take and pay you. And here's how much you should have for student debt. Not more than, so you're still comfortable on a budget when you get out of school. So knowing what your net loan cost is going to be, how much those payments are anticipated to be, and what you think your annual income is going to be based upon your degree and getting a job in that field, those are going to help you say, I'm going to make this much, I'm going to spend this much, I'm okay with that. Or maybe you need to modify your search and say, well, I want to do a different career, or I need to look for more grants and scholarships because I don't want to owe that much on student loans. There is a caveat that when you look at certain careers like teachers and nurses and doctors, there are different forgivable type loans or programs to where you may get your employer to pay for some of your loans. Those are all pieces you take into account for as well. A little bit more a tricky detail, so be sure you ask your counselors, financial advisors, and your job placement division in the college of your choice. Just make sure you know what your responsibility is, what your cash flow is going to be, and that you're okay with it. The last thing we want to take and make sure that everybody does not get stressed out, fill this out, ask questions. We've put as many links on admmoneysmart.com as possible, but not too many. They're very concise, just some very good websites that will walk you step by step and make this process as easy as possible. It's not that overwhelming as long as you take it one at a time and then make your decisions as you go. You can always change your mind, and you can change your decisions and update your preferences as much as you want, but you become the one leading the transaction. You know what you want to do, and it's your choice. I wish you the best of luck in your search. Use all the resources possible. Ask as many questions as you can come up with, and I hope you find exactly what you want, where you want to be, and it all balances out. Good luck. We'll see you next time.